Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Hello and welcome to Truck Stop Murder and True Crime Podcast. I am your host, Gary Howard. Here we have another episode to talk about. This one has been on my mind for a while. But before I start, I'm hoping to start doing, my truck lease is going to be up pretty soon. So I'm hoping maybe one day in December, maybe I'll start doing this full time. We'll see. But before I start, I want to talk about what's going on in July. I do this every year, and I've enjoyed it. Great Lainey Hobbs had started this with her partner. I'm not for sure what her name is, but Lainey Hobbs is the one I talked to. But it's called a True Crime Podcast and Paranormal Festival. This year, it's in Boston, Massachusetts. This is my...
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Fourth year doing this. It's July 18th through 20th at the Doubletree North Shore in Boston, Massachusetts. And this podcast gallery provides unique experience to attendees to interact with creators and advocates and vendors. This is pretty much what CrimeCon is, but the difference is it's way cheaper and you get a better chance of meeting some of these. And this is not just any like people like me who just have started their podcast or low. We're talking about people like Generation Y, John Lorden. There's been a lot of people. Canadian True Crime that was there last year. So there is some big name podcasters there if you want to check it out. And this year is no exception. I'm going to go over a few of these. Of course, I'm going to be there on Podcast Road. So Generation Y, of course, Laney's podcast, True Crime Cases with Laney. The Trailer Code is a good one. I like that. True Crime Bullshit, if you want to learn about Israel Keys. And this one, Santa May Be a Killer, Criminal. True Consequences. There's another one about a man, he lost his brother and still trying to get it. Justice for him. Vanished is a good one. I'm going through these. I'm not going to go through all of these. If you want to check them out, you go to the website at truecrimepodcastfestival.com. But yeah, there's a lot of podcasts. Right now, if you go to the site, also, here's one I'm excited about. My Mom's Murder, hosted by Lauren Malloy. Now, I covered her case on Missing Miles, and her daughter, who did everything about it, she's going to be there. So, and also, I haven't listened to this yet, but my favorite beer is Miller High Life, and their pictures, Another Nobody, the cheap beer of podcasts, Travis Meyer. So I'm excited to watch them. I'm excited to be there as always. But yeah, like I said again, it's going to be July. Let me get back to my page. July 18th through the 20th at the Doubletree, Boston, in North Shore, Boston, Massachusetts. Now go to truecrimepodcastfestival.com and everything's there. You can book your reservations at the hotel. There's a discount. I don't personally have a discount to the podcast festival as of yet, but when you go here, you can click on some of the podcasts that's going to be there. I think they might have some. So without further ado, let's talk about my case for today. Now, this case here is one that I've been wanting to do for a while. When I first started podcasting, this case came across. I'm in Minot, Illinois. Actually, I'm at the truck stop I'm talking about right now. I found that when I first started doing podcasts, started thinking about it, I was here in Minot. I guess that's how you spell it. Say it. I was here in Minot, Illinois. I was looking up cases. What can I do? What can I find? How can I do this? Because my idea was try to do cases as I'm at the truck stop. But then I realized that's not really possible because I'll be leaving out so much information.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
It'll just be a short BS. Unless I do something, I might be going back to that. But today I am parked at the Road Ranger number 186. Now, it don't have a good review with 3.2 rating out of 359 reviews. I'll give my rate after I get done with reviews. I'll tell you what I think about it. Now, it says it has 175 spots. And it says pay spots, but I don't see no pay spots here for $18 a night. I don't see none. Now, there's one area is all asphalt, but then have a big, huge gravel area, which I think you could probably fit. If it's done right and people just don't park all over the damn place, I bet you could fit more than 175 trucks here. I bet you. Diesel is $3.45 a gallon. DEF is $4.18 a gallon. If you're interested in that, which with the price of fuel, if you're a truck driver listening to this, I assume that you might be interested. This is a case of you are driving. This is a major along 39 going up north. But if you want to know, the actual address is 1311 Caroline Drive, Minot, Illinois, 61760. Has all the stuff as regular. They have showers, which I don't know if the showers are free. They had all the keys and the locks with the clean towels and everything like that. I don't know if you pay for it or not, but I don't know. Overnight parking, they have 4 showers, which look like 6 showers, to be honest with you. They're open 24 hours a day. They have a Subway there, which I'll get to that. And let's see the first Q&A. There's the Q&A. All this information I'm getting is from Trucker's Path. It says, so is the store open 24 or closes at a certain time? And he says not known at the time. But if this person would have looked on general information on Trucker's Path, they would have seen it is open 24 hours a day. So, if you're traveling through here, 39, heading up to Rochelle or going south to bypass 55, going to Chicago, what is there to eat around here? Subway. That is it. Now, you have the truck stop food itself, like pizza and different things. Actually, just pizza that I'm looking at, but they have like different items you could buy. I think they have a hot dog roller in there. But the few times I've been here, I don't think there's anything in it. But you have Subway. And I'll go ahead and tell you my review right now. That has a 2.5-star review, and I can understand why. Because it's closed right now. It is 7:14 right now, and there's nobody there. And it looked like they've been closed for a while. The last time I was here, they were open, but there was nobody there. So finally, I had to ask the cashier at the truck stop, is it still open? What? She's like, yeah, it should be open. So she had to go find the worker. I don't know what the person was doing. I don't remember if it was a male or female. I don't know what they were doing, but they were gone. But yeah, that's the only thing that I think. I would give it a 4-star just because of that. Now, they do have a sign for a restaurant here, Woody's, that sells, but it has not been open since I started driving the truck, and that's been 10 years. So yeah, if you're here, the only thing you're eating, is Subway. Now, if you're a car, you can drive around and look around and see what you find. But let's go with reviews. Let's see what people think about this place. And like I said, I already told you my 4-star review. They have parking, plenty of parking for trucks. The people here are amazing. They have beer here, which is a plus. They do have whatever you may need for traveling, but only Subway, and it's a hit and miss if it's open or closed. So let's see what the first review is. This says a 3-star review. Okay, so anyone who says this place is extremely clean needs to have their eyes checked. The bathrooms and showers are disgusting, but they aren't clean either. Food.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
And restaurant is hot and decent. I had dinner. I bet their breakfast would be good. It seems like a breakfast joint, but it's better than truck food on a cold winter night. The service by the store and restaurant staff is top notch, and I appreciate it. But gave it 3 stars. But now this was 2 years ago, and it says the restaurant was open. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember the restaurant ever be opening. But just Subway. Maybe they open up and close right away. I don't know. Let's see what next review is. It's a place, 2-star. It's a place to park. Yes, you're correct. If you walk into the bathrooms, you will walk out with pink eye. Now, come on, dude. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest bathrooms. I'll give that. There's things laying all over the place. Nothing bad, like tissue and different things laying around. But for the most part, it's not. I can't speak of the female restroom, but the male wasn't that bad. Just go in there, shit, piss, and get the fuck out. Okay, nominous user. No food, no coffee, Subway's closed. Even though there are employees inside and it's well past open hours, employees couldn't care less about any of the issues. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. This is not the first time at this stop. It has been in this condition. Also, the bathroom was a disaster. Again, the bathroom means that it was not. I mean, it wasn't the cleanest bathroom, if I said that right. But it's definitely. I've been in way worse, definitely. But it wasn't that bad. I bet you it's a lot cleaner than this person's bathroom. 3-star review. Shower was decently clean. Water pressure was in and out though. Good place for parking though. Nice big dirt lot. I'll let everyone else fight over a spot and get blocked in at Love's. Okay, I think there's a Love's by here. I didn't see. Oh, here we go. 5-star review. Someone likes it. Great truck stop. Almost like an oasis in the middle of nowhere, which is true because there's not much around here. Has an insane amount of parking. You won't struggle to find anywhere to park at any point of the day. You'll have to park in a dirt lot if paid parking is full. Obvious, Captain Obvious here. But it's all free 24/7 and well lit. Food is good. They have a Subway attached inside. Bathrooms and showers are decent. A tad too dirty, but nothing. Well, really. Back to the bathrooms, all dirty. So let's see what really people hate. But here you go. 1-star review. Nothing good here. Come and see. I'm here and I see all kinds of good stuff. Lots of parking available on dirt lots. There's a 4-star review, and showers are average. Nice parking. So it's like a mix, between a lot of these people. Let's go with one more right here. I'll stop with this one. 4-star review because I'd see Do They Have Beer is his name. The parking is excellent. There's a Subway. The Wendy's restaurant was shut down. The bathroom consistently smells like no, it don't. Urine for some reason, but the toilets are clean. The showers are clean and had decent water pressure. They have beer and pint liquor behind the counters. Yes, I forgot to tell you that. You can come here and get yourself a 5th of Jack Daniels if you want, or you can get pints or whatever. They got booze here. You get booze. I mean, what else what else do you need to ask for? They have parking, check. Food, check. Even though it's Subway and different things, pizza and stuff like that, check. Beer, check. 24 hours, check. So you can get coffee anytime you wake up. Check, 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 check. And as for everybody complaining about the bathrooms, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I used to be a carny too, but the bathrooms didn't seem that bad to me. I said there's some garbage litter on the floor. It did not smell like urine. The stalls were clean. stocked with toilet paper. It seemed fine to me. And so there's my review. So let's go on to the case of Ham. Let's talk about the murder. Now, like I said, this case is something I saw a long time ago when I first started doing podcasts. Well, before I even started doing podcasts, I saw this case. Now, we're going to go way back in time. We're talking about 1879. It's one of the cases I haven't seen nobody really do. I seen one guy do a generic video just pointing at the ground, talking about this is the martyrs, not the potter's field where he's buried at. You might hear my cat. I have cats in my truck. I hear them up there scratching at something. I don't know. Hopefully they're not as big a nuisance. But and I saw another guy do the video of the marker, the statue itself, but it's so windy you can't hear nothing. We're going to talk about the murder of Ella Martin. And keep in mind, this is back in 1879, so I'm reading from, well, I'm got my information from is Monarch Talk. It's a site, Talk Monarch, and also Find the Grave and newspaper.com. So let's get into this story. Probably the most lasting tragedy in Monarch was the murder of little Ella Martin. The murder case had all the elements for a sensational story: sex, violence, vigilism, and the compassion of a local citizen swept up by the emotion of the murder. Equally interesting is the cavalcade and wordy prose used by the newspaper too. The newspaper is something I had to stop looking it up because there's so much about it. Plus with the 1879 wording. So Ella Martin was 17-year-old daughter of John Martin, who had 5 children and lived on a farm 1 mile south of Monarch. On October 10th, 1879, Ella was walking home from church when she was encountered by a local blacksmith, apprentice by the name of Johannes DeBoer, a recent immigrant from Germany. So let's talk about him a little bit. Johannes DeBoer was born in a little town in Germany called Wittmont. In the year of I'm going to read this how it says it on newspaper.com. So if it sounds like I'm speaking Old English, well, that's how they spoke then. He was a second son of his parents, his father being one before married, having 2 daughters by his first wife, who yet resided in the old country. The present family consisted of 3 boys and 3 girls, all born in Germany, of whom Johannes is the second. When Johannes was about 11 years old of age, his parents immigrated to this country, and shortly after landing, settled in Monarch, where the older brother, DeBoer, had carried out a small bakery. He is a man of perhaps 60 years of age, a low-browed, stolid-appearing German who gave no indication of more than a very moderate share of intelligence. So he was not smart, but he wasn't dumb. It is not puzzling to the observer of human nature where and how the murderer Johannes obtained the natural, brutal instincts. The direct descent from father to son has been subject of comment by all who have met the parents. So yeah, they said, that father is just like, son like father, both average, plain Jane. But yeah, the mother of him, Johannes, is a lady perhaps 5 or 6 years younger than her husband, and the second wife has a much more honest face. She also is German, and in fact speaks English with much difficulty, so she doesn't speak very well. She is very type of a naturally and has done all in her limited power to raise her family properly. But I could imagine not being able to speak English very well, trying to do kids, their family speaking English, trying to really control things out. It'd be kind of hard. But yeah, from the time Johannes became more than a mere child, he was exhibiting the resistance and reserve of disposition, which has so strongly characterized him up to the present time. When a small boy at school, he was known to have but a little in common, he didn't have nothing but in common with the others of his age, seldom joining them in the games of sports, and exhibiting none of the freedom so characteristic of the average gamer he was. So he never really got a hold, connected, he was isolated. Not a quarrelism turn, but inclined to be alone, and predisposed to broad over childish troubles. His education was limited. The family being poor, he was clearly taken out of school, which was a lot of people at the time, because they needed to make money, and being in school is not going to help. So a lot of kids around that time was taken out of school, and he was no exception. So he needed to be taken out of school to assist his father as his labor performed odd jobs for which he might obtain compensation. He was not averse to this, having no desire for book knowledge, while on the other hand, his older brother Henry studied eagerly, and at a youthful age accepted a citation in a dry situation at a dry food store. I guess that's what it says. As German clerk, where he acquired himself honorable credit and gave his employee an entire satisfaction. Up on the time of his leaving, he is now employed in a railroad, so he got his job at railroad. About 2 years ago, Johannes commenced work. So this is where he was working at when this all happened. In the blacksmith and care shop of Pickard and Brothers, from whom he was working at the time of this tragedy. He was always slender built, but his employment hardened his muscles until they became like iron, which would be a fact of what happened to him, why he was so easily overtake her. Count for the ease which he overpowered the victim and crushed her throat in his powerful and fiendish grip. His arrival at manhood only had a tendency to strain his character so resident, if I said that right, repugnant, and he became more silent, remorse, and reserved. So as he got older, he just became more to himself. His habits, save the one of self-abuse, were better than average. He was not a frequenter of saloons. She didn't go to bars. Never gambled, although sometimes profane. His outward conduct was such as might put to shame many young men who stand much higher than his social. So it sounds like he's a plain Jane person and kept himself, but he wasn't as good as everybody else. But yeah, a year ago, last summer when this happened, he was known to follow two young German girls to the suburbs of the city and make insulting proposals to them, but did not attempt to follow or molest them when they ran away. A few times when younger, he was detected seeking opportunity to gratify his lustful passion by the sense of sight, but these irregularities, I was having trouble saying that earlier, irregularities, my wife had to help me with that, thank you, Desra, by the way, was attitude to youth. So it sounded like he was jerking off in the woods while he's watching these girls do whatever they do, and soon passed over, were never known besides now by the actual. So they never knew until the tragedy when everything came out. The most terrible of the kind occurred. His employee considered him faithful as a workman. He really learned the trade very good. So you got an idea who this guy is. Yeah, I mean, he was not a very smart guy, just like his dad, average guy. Came across here to make a better of himself and his family. Not him, but his father did. And he just got a job because he couldn't go to school. So he came across this, back to where we're at. He came across Johannes DeBoer, a recent immigrant from Germany. So when Ella rejected his advances of DeBoer, he became enraged and attacked her. Below is a description of the attack as described. I'm not going to read that. This is what I'm reading from the page itself. It says, "Where are you?" He said, "Where are you going?" She replied that she was going home and attempted to pass him. He said she could not pass. At the same time, made her an infamous proposal, from which I don't know what that proposal is. I couldn't find nowhere. From which her pure nature turned in disgust, and against which she rebelled. She again attempted to pass and said she would scream if he did not allow her to do so. Thereupon he grasped her by the throat and hurled her backwards on the ground at the side of the track. There by railroad tracks, by the way. Bravely she battled for honor, virtue, and life, struggling against the fierce onslaught of the demon-possessed blacksmith. But he held her throat in a vice-like grip, and soon her struggles ceased. Ella, she's not dead at this time, by the way. Ella was stabbed, and now I have not seen a lot of newspapers. They don't really say rape or nothing like that. They just said he had his way with her. So I don't know if that's. I'm assuming he raped her, then stabbed and left her to die. She lay on the edge of a cornfield near death until she was found the next morning by her brother on his way into town. She was taken to her father's house where she lay dying. Like I said, she's still alive. She managed to name DeBoer as attacker. Marshal Miguel went to the blacksmith shop to arrest DeBoer and brought him back to Ella's deathbed. But this is different time. This will never happen today. So they got this guy, brung him to her bed to be unidentified, where she didn't identify her attacker. And the local citizens became extremely upset when the news of the attack spread. Of course, being back then, threats of lynching were made, and so DeBoer was hustled off to Metamora and put in jail away from the mob. The next morning, Ella died. As there's a book, I couldn't find the book. It says as described by the book. Of course, she had stab wounds to her neck, her chest, and was not doing very well because of that blood loss. So the next Sunday morning at 8 o'clock, the soul of Ella Martin passed away to endless rest. This is what it says in this page. A weary, weak, or suffering, surrounded by loved ones or friends, and gently ministered to her every one, cared for and watched as her brethren. And then the Lord, I'm not going to read the rest of that. They just kind of make it's like a prayer. Looks like something that would be on a stock. But yeah, after learning, I'm sorry I added all that. After learning of Ella's death, local men formed a vigilant group and headed to Metamora, where they demanded the head of DeBoer held in the county jail. I'm hoping I say that right, DeBoer. I think who cares? Fuck him. They demanded his head in the county jail. The jailer convinced the mob that they had transported DeBoer to the Peoria jail because he had tried to set his jail cell on fire. Of course, they listened to him and they dispersed. Ella's funeral may have been the biggest funeral Minot had ever had. The businesses were closed and the schools dismissed. About 400 people went to the Martin house where the first service was held. Over 100 carriages formed the process of procession back into town, and a church where they had church service, which was packed to overflowing, standing room only. The service concluded with the following farewell song by the Methodist choir, and it goes, "Farewell, my mother dearest, farewell, my brothers, farewell to all the loving friends of my heart. Fair Father will meet me, I'll be waiting to greet thee, far in the sunny clime where friends never part. Farewell, Ella, sweet loving Ella. Oh, the Lord has taken darling Ella home to the sky." And so you can see this is a very touching situation. They wanted this guy dead. But DeBoer was quickly tried and convicted of murder. He was sentenced to hanged on March 10th, 1880 in Livingston County. Here is the description. Here we're going to describe what he said. In the presence of 50 people, DeBoer stood on a low platform with a rope around his neck, and while solemn silence sat like a pall upon them. The signal was given, the spring, no less words, the spring which touched his soul passed out into the great beyond, and justice was satisfied. The execution was conducted in a very orderly manner and reflects great credit on Sheriff Hunter, who had changed the whole affair. Thus, DeBoer, which was the first hanging ever in this town at that time. But after Ella Martin here's what I think was cool. I saw this. After Ella Martin was buried in Minot Cemetery, a number of local citizens formed a community to purchase a large monument for her grave. Shares were sold at 50 cents apiece. $700 was raised to erect a monument. The monument is very large. Now I'm going to I took video of this. I went there earlier, and there'll be pictures of this on my Facebook page of Trucks Not Murder True Crime Pod, or Trucks Not Murder True Crime, or you could go to mine, Truck Gary Howard. It'll all be there. So that's where I went. So there's a case of the murder of Elamar. And like I said, this is a case that's been on my mind for a while. Not really much to it, and I know I gibbered and babbled a little bit through this, but I thought it'd be the best just to read what they have in the Minnock Talk. And that's a news. If you want to know more about Minnock, Illinois, you could go here. Newspaper. So now you know where she's at. Let's see what they end up putting him. Of course, the family being poor, they can't really. He was actually 19 years old, so he wasn't that young. He was born October. Johannes DeBoer was born October 25th, 1860. You can find him on Find a Grave with like a little drawn picture of him. He was executed at age 19, so he was younger. He was 18. But now you can't find a burial spot for him. He's in the Southside Cemetery in Pontiac, Illinois, but he's in a potter's field. So I'm not going to read. They have the whole, but you can read that if you want. But there you go. There's my episode, Truck Stop Murder. Hopefully you start getting a little better. I need some practice. This truck driving has been, my schedules has been up and down and all around. And I was off not too long ago, but that was my wife's time. I took her to go diamond hunting and go look at some Indian mounds. That's what she likes to do. So I'm hoping in December, maybe I'll be able to do this full time and get back into it. I notice once I start recording every week, I get the sound better. I get more confident and everything's good. But doing it every once a month makes it hard to keep a good flow. But thank you for listening. If you made it this far, please rate and review everywhere you're listening to it. Join my Facebook group at Truck Stop Murder and True Crime. And you could Google me and find me anywhere else. But thank you for showing, and I hope to see you at the True Crime Podcast Festival and True Crime and Paranormal Podcast Festival in Boston. And as I always end all my episodes, you can't fix stupid, but you can sure numb it with a 2x4. Also, listen to my podcast, Missing Miles. That's more unsolved cases. And I got other things I'm hoping. I got a lot of things on my palette that I'm trying to do, but being a truck driver, I just can't do it. Well, back was out. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, you can't fix stupid, but you can sure numb it with a 2x4. I'm out of here.
Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No